On one of my recent videos, I had this comment posted. I'm interested in your stove thoughts. I'm thinking of doing my first through hike, but as a non-camper and solo female using bed and breakfast en route. And you don't have to go into full wild camping mode, carrying everything on your back for a long day hike. Now the interesting thing is, if you're walking like that, you probably don't even need a stove at all. You could simply take a flask, stop somewhere with a great view, and have a brew without carrying any extra kit. And for a lot of people, that's probably the best option. But if you're like me and enjoy that process of stopping, boiling water, and making a fresh drink on the hill, then a stove adds something different. It gives you a reason to slow down, to sit for 10 minutes, and quite often, those are the moments when you notice the most. So that got me thinking, if you're going to take a stove on a day hike, what's the best option? You want something that's light, quick, easy to put together and dismantle, and something that's not a bit of an overkill like the Trangia. Don't get me wrong, I love my Trangia, but for a day hike, it's a little bit too big and bulky. So today we're putting 3 setups to the test. The Pocket Rocket style system, the OEX Heiro, and the Jetboil Flash. Now just to clarify, the original Pocket Rocket is actually an MSR stove, but since then there's a lot of other brands that have used the name or a very similar design. And the one I'm using here is the Orderland version. It's an American company and it's essentially the same lightweight burner paired with a titanium cook set. And we're going to test them across 5 different categories: the price, the weight, the features and accessories, ease of use, and the boil time. And each category is scored out of 3. So the best gets 3 points, the worst gets 1 point. And after all 5 categories, we'll add up the points and see which is the winner. Now I do need to highlight that there are lots of other excellent stove companies out there: MSR, Fire Maple, Trangia. Yeah, they've all got some very similar, if not better, stoves. But for this video, I'm simply comparing the stoves that I already own. I've not gone out and bought any new gear, because realistically, we're going to use what we've got and figure out what works best. So, category 1, the price. The Pocket Rocket system came in at just £23. That was on Amazon. The OEX Heiro came in around £55. And the Jetboil Flash came in at £130. Now this is where things get really interesting, because at £23, the Pocket Rocket is less than half price of the OEX Heiro, which in turn is a fraction of the price of the Jetboil Flash. So when we're scoring the points for the price, the Pocket Rocket system scores 3 points in first place. It's the cheapest. And in second place is the OEX Heiro. And in last place with 1 point is the Jetboil Flash. In category 2 is the weight. Now weight is quite important when you're carrying a full rucksack for a day hike. So you want a minimum weight as possible. But rather than just weighing the stoves on their own, I've included a gas canister, because in reality, you're going to need a gas canister with the stove to make your drink. So first up on the scales is the Jetboil Flash, and that comes in at 660 grams. Next up is the OEX Heiro, and that comes in at 580 grams. And next up is the Pocket Rocket system, and that comes in at 570 grams. So the lightest, at 570 grams, was the Pocket Rocket system, so that gets 3 points. Second place was the OEX Heiro at 580 grams, gets 2 points. And the heaviest, in third place at 660 grams, was the Jetboil, that gets 1 point. So after 2 rounds, the Pocket Rocket is out in front, but let's see what happens when we dig a bit deeper. So let's start with the Pocket Rocket system. It comes in a mesh bag with a draw cord, and it's got a titanium pot system. The lid's got a little handle on it. There's the gas canister. It doesn't come with a stabiliser for the gas canister. I've had to buy that separate. It does, however, come with a little collapsible foldable knife and fork system. So that was in the pots when I weighed it. It comes with the burner, and then the main pot system, which again, it's got a carrying handle. It's got markers inside, measurement markers, and that can measure up to 800 millilitres. And then the stove system itself is in this little orange plastic container. And this opens up. So once we've got the stabilizer on the gas canister, we can screw the burner unit onto it. It's got its own piezo ignition system. Which in this case isn't working. So once you've got it set up, you have to open these out so you pan, but it's not that stable. Put the handles back in. It's a bit more stable when the handles are in. But when the handles are out, it seems to be pulling it over a little bit. It comes with a mesh bag. It's got a foldable knife and fork. It's got a built-in piezo ignition, but that didn't work. It's got measurement markings on the pot, up to 800 millilitres. And the pan set's got foldable handles to stop you burning your hands. The negatives, it's got no stabiliser for the gas canister, which I've had to buy extra. It's a little bit fiddly to set up, and when you get your pan on the top, it's a little bit unstable. So the OEX Heiro comes in a mesh bag with a draw cord. Again, it doesn't come with a gas canister stabiliser, so you have to buy that extra. It's got a plastic lid with holes in to drain any water for if you're making pasta. A hole there where you can drink, and then it's got a hole for any steam venting. Fits a gas canister in. It's got the burner in it, and again, this has got a piezo ignition system. It's got a neoprene cover to help keep the heat in. It's got measurements on the inside, and this one only goes up to 0.6 litres. So let's set it up. Get the stabiliser on the gas canister. Let's see if the So on this occasion, the piezo ignition did work. And on your burner unit, you've got 3 little lugs, and then on your cup pot system, you've got 3 holes, and you've got to marry them up, and it sits quite tall. That's why you need the stabilisers on there. Pros are, it's an integrated system with the piezo ignition, which worked. It comes with a mesh bag. It's got a neoprene sleeve and handles that fold out. It's got 600mm markings on the inside of the pot, but in reality, you could probably put 700 millilitres in. It's got holes in the lid at the top for drinking, draining pasta, and it's got a steam vent. The negatives, there's no stabiliser included for the gas canister. So next up we look at the Jetboil. No mesh bag on this one, but it does have a neoprene cover. Got a little slot on the neoprene cover there for a spoon or a lighter or something. And it's got some heat indicators here, so when it gets hot they change colour. Comes with a plastic cup at the base. However, this is so flimsy, this basically cracked on the first use, so it's just held together with tape. So I've never used that because it broke straight away. Fits in a gas canister. It's got a pan adapter, which we'll come on to in a minute. It's got the burner unit, but this one does come with a gas canister stabilizer. So we get the gas canister stabilizer on, open up that, get the burner unit on it. This one does have a piezo ignition system. Let's see if it works. Eventually, but it is an old stove this, eventually got it going. Measurements inside, about halfway down the cup, it says maximum safe fill 2 cups. So what it's suggesting is you only fill it halfway, but in reality you could probably get 700 ml, 800 ml in there. Very similar to the OEX, it's got 3 lugs on here, 3 holes. It just, you marry up, screw on, and it holds it on tight. The lid goes on, and again it's got a drinking hole and a hole for letting any steam out, but it doesn't have the draining for pasta holes in it. That fits on the top. And the beauty about this one is it comes with this pan set here. These open up like that. That fits on top of your cooking unit like that, so you can put a frying pan on here and use other pot systems. But also this fits onto the OEX Heiro, so this is a bonus. So if I decide to take the lighter option, the OEX Heiro, I can nick this out of the Jetboil system, and this fits onto the OEX nicely. So I can use a pan system with the OEX as well, but only thanks to Jetboil. The pros are that it's a self-contained system and everything fitted inside the main pot. It's got its own built-in piezo ignition system that did eventually work. This one does come with a gas canister stabilizer. It's got a neoprene sleeve which helps keep the heat in. It's got a heat indicator on the sleeve. The lid is plastic. It's got a drinking hole and a vent, and reality could probably fit about 800 millilitres in it. The cons: it doesn't come in a mesh bag. The bottom cup is super flimsy and that broke more or less on the first use, and there's no fixed handle. You've basically got this strap here. So on category 3, features and accessories, in first place the Jetboil with 3 points. Got more accessories than the other, and the piezo ignition system did work. In second place you've got the OEX Heiro, 2 points. And then in last place, you've got the pocket rocket system with 1 point. Moving on to category 4, ease of use. So this is where we're going to time to see how long it takes to get each stove set up, get it lit and get it packed away. This is where the integrated systems have probably got an advantage, and the little fiddliness of the pocket rocket is going to come into play as well. So first up is the Jetboil. We're basically going to time it from getting it set up, getting it lit and getting it packed away. And I've got my stopwatch ready to go here. And we're off. We're done. One minute 13:22. So now we've got the OEX Heiro or Heiro. So go. 1 minute 12. So next up is the pocket rocket system, and we're off. Ooh. So I'm going to leap back up. Hold on, not very stable. Off. Two minutes 2. So for ease of use, at 1 minute 12, the fastest was the OEX Heiro, and that gets 3 points. Second place by 1 second was the Jetboil Flash, so that gets 2 points. And in third place, at 2 minutes 2, was the pocket rocket, which we expected, so that gets 1 point. So the next category is boil time. Now this is the one that everybody will be waiting for. Basically, I'm going to fill this cup up with water, so it's exactly the same amount on each boil, and we'll see how long it takes to boil. Three minutes 21 for the pocket rocket system. One minute 5. 1 minute 28. So the results are in. In third place at nearly 3 minutes to boil water was the pocket rocket system. So that gets 1 point. Surprisingly, in second place at 1 minute 28 seconds was the Jetboil. So that gets 2 points. But the quickest by 23 seconds, so this was 1 minute and 5, was the OEX, just over a minute to boil water for a brew. So that gets 3 points. That really has surprised me. But they've got the Jetboil and the OEX Heiro have got heat exchangers. They've got blades and fans which keep the heat in. I wasn't expecting that. So all the points are in, and when we put all the points onto the scorecard, there's one clear winner, the OEX Heiro, or Heiro. I call it the Heiro. People will be screaming at the telly, it's the Heiro. Yeah, clear winner by 3 points, by my reckoning. Now that has surprised me. So that's 3 stoves tested across 5 categories. And when we put all the scores onto the scorecard, there's one clear winner. And the winner is the OEX Heiro. Now the interesting thing with all this is the best stove really depends on how you like to walk. So if you're doing something like a B&B to a B&B hike, a flask might be all you need. But if you want speed and efficiency, the OEX is hard to beat. If you want good value for money, the pocket rocket suddenly becomes a real strong contender. If you want to pay for a brand name, then obviously you're going to go for the Jetboil. I might have been slightly unfair to the Jetboil because there is a newer model out and this is my old Jetboil. But as I said at the start, I'm not going out and buying any newer gear. So there you have it. That's our day hike stove comparison test with one clear winner. On whatever stove you decide to pick, or whether you decide to not take a stove at all or just simply take a flask, just remember to give yourself some time to stop, sit down, enjoy a brew, but more importantly, enjoy being out there. If you've got any other recommendations for stoves, for day hikes, put something in the comments below. Be really interested in seeing what you've got to say. And until next time, that's me signing off, and thanks for watching.